students, welcome to art class today. I'm really excited about this project. We are going to make flags, and the flags are going to represent us. On the first slide on this PowerPoint, you should have seen kind of an introduction to what flags are all about, and then following slides, we're going to see some examples from actual flags from actual countries that kind of explain the symbols and meaning of the flags that they have. I have here a few examples of flags that I've made for myself. And let's remember, we want them to have symbols or pictures or colors or things that represent who we are. So in this first example, I have, of course, cats. Y'all know I love cats, and I've got two different colored cats because I have two cats myself. One's kind of brown and one's a black cat. So I split them in half in my drawing so you could see them. I put orange because I really love that color. A lot of times I think it just reminds me of happiness and warmth and good things, and that's what my cats remind me of. And I also feel like I try to be happy and warm and all those things. I put in on this one waves like from the ocean and a shamrock like from Ireland. I have a lot of Irish ancestors, and my husband is Irish, and my new last name is McMahon, and that's a very Irish name. And then I put the waves because I actually grew up by the ocean in California, and I spent a lot of time in the ocean, by the ocean, looking out at the water. So I felt like that was an important part of who I am. And then here I have my husband, and then I have a yin and yang sign. I put my husband because I love him and he's a big part of my life. You might include family members, best friends, things like that, teachers, people who inspire you, your heroes. And so I put my husband because he's all of those things to me. And then I put the yin and yang sign because I feel like I'm kind of a back and forth person in a good way. I have a lot of kind of opposite things. Like sometimes I'm really excited and energetic, but sometimes I'm really good at being calm. So I like the idea of that symbol because it represents that balance of opposite things. And then here I have kind of a drawing of myself. Now my hair over time, I think the marker faded, but it kind of turned yellow. Right now my hair is kind of brown. It was orange when I drew this picture, but it changes. It's very curly. I gave myself a really big open mouth because I'm always talking, teaching. And then obviously I'm here by a big paint palette because I'm an art teacher. I like to paint, I like to make art, so I had to include that. In my hands, I have a little paintbrush and a pen, and then green is my favorite color. So that's one of my flags. Here's another flag example I did. Very different design, but I also feel like it represents me. Lots of color. I love color. I'm the art teacher, of course. You can include words on your flag, but I would mostly try and do symbols and pictures that represent who you are. I also have a few examples from students that were made last year at Edison. So I wanted to show you a few of those ideas. So here's one. I really loved that they added symbols and shapes and colors, and they filled up the whole thing. And I love all these different shapes. And I would imagine if you talk to this person that each of those shapes represents something to them.
Here's another one. You might even recognize some of these, by the way. I think you did a similar project last year, right? They put their favorite food, and I know they were still filling in some of these things, and then they put different colors and shapes that represent who they are. This one I thought was a great example of a flag. It's got patterns and shapes and stripes just like a flag would, dots. And again, I'm sure if we talked to this person, they could explain all these little things to us. That's something about a flag is right away you might not know what everything symbolizes, but if you were to talk to the person who created that flag, they surely will know what they represent. I really like this design. They did a self-portrait. What can represent a person more than what they look like, right? And then they started to describe things about themselves.
And this last example, oh my goodness, I think it might be one of my favorites. They put the flag of Mexico kind of in the middle to represent their heritage or where their family might have come from. And then they put different things about them. It says things like, I love school, pizza, friends, water, trees, sunshine, colors, talkies, all the things that they feel like make them who they are. And they did it in a way that it looks just like a flag. It's got this great circle with the stripes. So as you continue throughout this PowerPoint with your teacher, you'll see some examples from actual country flags, and you can go over as much information as you want, and then you can start designing your own flag. I do recommend that when you get your paper, that on the back you write your name and your teacher's name, but also maybe practice drawing some ideas. Before you jump over to the final draft side, think about, what am I going to include on my flag? Don't just start drawing. Think first, brainstorm. And then when you do start drawing, draw in pencil lightly. That way, if you make a mistake, you don't have to throw away your paper and get a new one. You can erase, you can change things, you can cover it up, you can make it work, or muffin cat it. On your flag, I want you to make sure that you have your name on the back. That's really important so we know whose flag belongs to who. I want you to fill up the whole page. These great examples like this one fill up the whole page. Not every tiny little piece is filled in, and that's okay, but the design fills up the page. They don't have a big old paper with a tiny little design in the middle. It fills up the page. Make sure you do some practice sketching on the back. Get some ideas, brainstorm first, don't just jump in. I want you to use at least 2 colors. So if you have your white piece of paper and you use some black, that can count as 1 color, but you need to have at least 1 other color. It can be any colors, and you can have as many colors as you want. You have to have at least 2, but you could have 5, 10, 20, as many colors as you want, but at least 2. I want you to have at least 3 symbols to represent who you are. That means, for example, on my flag, remember, I had a slice of pizza. That represented my favorite food. I had pictures of my cats. Those represent my favorite animals. I had shamrocks. Those represent my Irish heritage. I had water that represents that I grew up by the ocean and that I love the water. And I had way more symbols than that. So you can have more than 3, but I want you to have at least 3 symbols. And overall, most of all with this project, I want you to have fun, and I want you to make something that represents who you are. And it can represent your family if that's important to you. It can represent your friends, your school, your life, but who you are. Use this art project to express yourself and to have fun and to create a great project. I hope you have a great time, and I'll probably be next door so I can come over and see you and check in and see how you're doing.